Hey folks, welcome to a summertime Schneider time. Let's talk about how we grow. So, folks, I'm sure you're wondering, first of all, what the heck room am I in? This is my classroom during summer school. I'm in a different building because my building is currently undergoing a lot of repairs. And where the heck are my glasses at? And I broke them today. Somehow the screw fell right out of them, and I can't get it back in. So, whatever. You guys see my whole face, nothing to frame it with. I'm reading a book this summer. I'm reading like 4 books right now. This is not really a good way to read, but it's what I'm doing. I'm reading 4 books right now, and one of the books is a book called The Common Rule, and it's got some things in there. It's about how to develop a rule of living, kind of a framework for how you structure your life. And there's some things in there like a more of a spiritual world nature, so you may not jive with those. But there's an idea here I thought would apply to pretty much everyone anywhere. Um, we are always growing, always learning, always experiencing things, always changing. Who I am today is not who I was yesterday or who I will be tomorrow. All right? We're always changing, we're always growing, but we're not always growing in the right way. Okay? A plant in the ground that gets some level of water, some level of sunlight, has some level of nutrient around its roots will grow. But a gardener knows that you have to prune certain plants, you have to do certain things to certain plants in certain ways to get proper growth. A plant that grows every which way, my hand, ooh, every which way. A plant that grows every which way is not always going to be a healthy plant. Plants that grow too large, if it's a potted plant, plants that grow too large for their pot or for the strength of their stalk can fall over. Plants that grow without being cut back can overextend themselves and can die that way. There has to be a careful way you deal with and tend to plants and a careful way of how you manage their growth. So the author of this book talks about his mom planted a creeping vine by the side of their house. Okay, and it's a kind of a vine that would grow every which way if allowed to. Okay, and I was reading it, I kept thinking, it's a good point here. We gotta be careful of like sideways growth. You know, in your life, there might be goals or dreams or things you want to do or a person you want to become. And if you're not careful, you're gonna experience sideways growth. To where like, and I don't mean like I mean getting bigger, although that's a problem too. Watch out for that. Sideways growth is referring to like if my goal is before me, I want to move towards my goal. Okay, sideways growth is where I end up moving off the path. I'm growing, but in a direction may not be bad. Right? I'm going in a direction over here. It may not be a bad direction, but it's not towards my goal. Okay, and that's sideways direction. It's sideways growth, and it's going to take you away from your ultimate goal. You might get somewhere okay or somewhere good, but you may not get to where you actually wanted to be. You may not become who you actually wanted to become. And there's a lot of areas in our lives where I'm sure there's areas where I could point out, oh, I was growing, but it was sideways, and I ended up somewhere okay, but not where I wanted, and that's the nature of life. You move forward, not always in a straight line. You make mistakes, but the way to minimize mistakes, and we're still going to make them because we're human beings, is to develop some sort of rule for living, some sort of framework of habits. And he calls it a trellis of habits, kind of the idea here. He's got a calendar. And in the picture here, the calendar is acting as a trellis. A trellis is like a framework. I'll put a picture on the screen here in a second. A trellis is usually a wooden or metal frame that vines are planted at the base of, and the vines then twist their way through the trellis, and they grow upward. They don't grow sideways. They don't choke out other plants. Sometimes if we're not careful, our sideways growth can negatively impact others as well. The trellis helps us to grow in the direction we're supposed to grow. How do you form that? By forming positive, healthy habits that can direct your life and direct the direction you are moving. So, for example, here, okay, one of the habits in this book that I think is a great idea is to go 1 hour a day without your phone. Not 1 hour a day with your phone on silent mode. Not 1 hour a day without using your phone. 1 hour a day where the phone is powered off and you are out of reach. Why is that? You need one guaranteed hour a day where you cannot be distracted, where you cannot be interrupted. I mean, maybe he also suggests that once a day you have a meal with someone else. So maybe you have lunch with your boyfriend or girlfriend, if your time works out, especially in the summer. Or maybe you have dinner with your family. Or maybe you go visit your grandparents, have dinner with them. Once a day, have a meal with someone else. Talk with them. Turn your phone off so no one can interrupt you, no one can bother you, and you can actually for 1 hour a day have peace knowing that no one can interrupt your life, no one can text you with bad news, no, your boss can't get a hold of you. Wouldn't that be great for an hour a day, right? You got total freedom. You can't get called in. Hey, we called you. Oh, sorry, my phone was off. Take an hour a day where your phone is off and you are freed from technology and you're freed from the demands of other people. And use that time to invest in yourself. Read a book. Go for a walk. Again, have dinner with someone. Okay, have time where you can slow down and recover a more natural pace of life. We live life way too fast, way faster than we were ever intended to live, way faster than anyone has ever lived in human history. It's no wonder where more and more people have anxiety issues, more and more people are dealing with an overdue burden of stress. It's because of the pace of our lives. Even people who live slower lives are still living faster lives than ever before in human history, and we need to do something to slow ourselves down. So those are two habits. No phone for an hour a day and having dinner once a week with somebody else. Two habits that he suggests should form part of the framework of habits, the trellis of habits that will help direct your growth. There are other ones in there that I think are important. I'm going to try and use. One of them was to reduce your media intake to 4 hours a week. So 4 hours of TV, podcasts, total. Okay? I listen to 4 hours of stuff probably a day. That's not good. I am not proud of that number. Okay? So I think it's a good point, though. Reducing how much time you waste on TV. Because TV, oftentimes, there are some great TV shows out there, but I guarantee you there's not, for most people, there probably isn't more than 4 hours of great TV out there. Okay? Right now, my wife and I are rewatching a show. We're rewatching a show we've watched a million times. It's enjoyable. We've laughed. We've made jokes together about the show. But there's no way we're getting more than 4 hours of really good time out of the show a week. We could watch 1 or 2 episodes a night, or maybe 1 a night, 2 here, 1 here, 2 there, and get 4 hours of media time in a week, and that would be all we need from this particular show. Now, if a new show came out that we enjoyed and we were going to, watch one of those a night or binge that in one night, that might be good media usage, but we shouldn't then go beyond that, because what are you really getting out of watching more than 4 hours of TV a week or 4 hours of total media consumption? I wouldn't include music in there personally, but that's my own thing. At a certain point, we're just wasting our lives watching other people live on a different screen, and that isn't really healthy. When you stack, if you had 1 week where you watched a lot of TV, whatever, okay, maybe you're in quarantine, you get sick or something. But if you do that every week, you're just burning your own life away, wasting it, watching somebody else live. This is why, and if we're not careful, these habits will get sucked into these negative behaviors so quickly. Where we have to have consciously formed and purposely set apart habits to direct us, to guide us towards upward growth, till we actually move towards the goals and to the ideals we say are important to us. So anyway, that's my thoughts for today. Hope to get back here and record another one in a few weeks. Summer school is actually pretty busy, pretty hectic, and I'm having a hard time seeing and focusing right now. So I'm going to go get my glasses fixed, and I'm safe to drive, don't worry. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a good summer and a good day. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.